Hey guys, welcome to or back to the Grey Couch, where we say that life is not black or white but many shades of grey, and we're getting to explore the shades of grey together.
Yes.
My name is Stanley, and this is the beautiful
Otito.
And today we want to talk to you guys about the dip. I'm going to explain what the dip is in just a few. Have it at the back of your mind that every marriage relationship goes through the dip. It's the phase between honeymoon where everything is working perfectly, all your prayers are being answered, everything is just checking the boxes, so woo-hoo-ha, and mastery phase. The dip is right in the middle. And what is the dip? So what is the dip? So it's just difficult periods, right? Difficult periods in marriage where it seems as though connection is off, the relationship seems to have stalled or is stagnant, and that's why we say every marriage, every relationship goes through the dip. So honeymoon phase, you have the dip, and you have the mastery on the other side. And in fact, we are just coming out of one dip. Like I said, every marriage couple goes through the dip. It's just the process of being, I guess. So what we want to share with you today are tips, tricks, and I guess hacks that we use to pass through the dip. And if you go through the dip properly, when you come out on the other side, your relationship is stronger for it, your relationship is better for it. But if a dip is a difficult period in a marriage, how do you know when you are in a dip or when we are in a dip? And there are certain things you want to watch out for. Actually, four that come to mind. The first is emotional disconnection. And what do I mean by that? That closeness that you experience in the honeymoon phase is no longer there. It's like there's no emotional connection, no physical connection in some places. You feel as though you're not getting support from your spouse. You feel like you're alone even though you're in the same house. Would be one of the things. Another one is seemingly unresolved conflicts, whereby the same thing comes up happening over and over again, and maybe there's a coldness, a tendency not to talk about deep things, deep vulnerable things. Everybody just saying superficial, and it's just and then if you're having arguments and disagreements, the same arguments, the same arguments and the same disagreements over and over and over again. Another one is loss of shared interest. The excitement that you had when, I'm going to be spending time with my boo or my babe, or this is an activity that used to bring us a lot of joy. It becomes flat. It's just the way one of our friends call it. It's like blah would be the description that you would use. The blah, so shared interest, it's gone. So now define what the dip is. Told you whether on things, signs and things to look out for if and when you are in the dip. So what? What's this all about? Essentially, the question is, what's in this for you? What's in it for you? We're going to give you our own hacks for going through the dip, so that you don't, or at least you have something more to add to your bag or book of tools.
Your bag of tools.
Your bag of tools.
Your book of tricks.
The one thing I would say before I start telling the ones that we do is that I've said it before, but every relationship goes through a dip. It's just part of a growing process. So here are my hard-fought, hard-won tips for when I'm going to dip. What do I like to do? And then take it for yourself, share, customize it to what your own unique relationship, right? I normally, first of all, I look for clarity in that I go back and I go and remember what it was that attracted me to the person. Because what happens in the dip is that, there could be tunnel vision whereby you're only focused on this particular problem at the time and this issue. And you forgot the babe of your youth. You forgot why you guys got married. You forgot the things that attracted you, or what you promises that you had made just goes out the window. So what I like to do is I go back, and this is where you find someone looking at old marriage pictures. You're looking at old pictures, scrolling them through the TV and what have you, just to kind of remember, to rekindle something. She's laughing.
Sentimentality. Okay.
Okay. So what I normally do is I watch out for what I call harmful patterns to try and quit them. And my particular harmful pattern is feeling that I am owed something and it's all her fault, or majorly her fault, and that is a harmful pattern, that as opposed to focusing on what I can do to move forward or get us out of the dip, I'm blaming the other person. I'm playing a blame game, and it really doesn't end well. In fact, so going up, you spiral down. You know, something that I look.
Yes.
Oh, I like this your one word cues. Something else that I like to do is try and push through together. When I realize that when it dips, oh God, this is a dip that we're in. Let me get you, as because while you want to work on yourself, it also takes two to tango. So I see the dip as an opportunity to add to the marriage, to grow our marriage muscles. And so the dip is just exposing an area of weakness or a flaw or an area of weakness, you know. And so as opposed to covering it up and deny that it's there, I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity to strengthen this muscle and get better, and we do it together, as in we're all in this together. Another thing I do is, and this calls for a lot of patience and a lot of persistence. So that comes into play because if you're like us, you didn't get into the dip in one day or 1 week, you know, and so the patience and persistence, listen, okay, as you start to make efforts and you start to make changes, it will take a while to grow out of this predicament or this situation that you're in for now. And so you don't want to get discouraged and that, oh, I'm doing all this and this, it seems like there's no results, so I'm just going to stop that. No. Okay, this is going to take me patience and I'm going to be persistent in it. And I don't say the last thing because I'm listing it as last, but this might be the first thing you use. Seek some outside professional help, because a lot of us, we have our blind spots, and sometimes it takes listening to and talking to a third party to give you a perspective that hitherto you have not seen.
A safe third party, right? If you were to think about the word safe. Who would the third party be here now? But yeah, I got you. And the part that I'll add, just because of our faith, is prayer, right? As a Christian person or people in Christian culture, that actually many times supersedes many of the other ones, right? So if you haven't noticed on this channel where integration is, what do we mean by that? Not the people that integrate, nations, but you're combining, right, spiritual and psychological principles, because this is, body and soul, right, or body, soul, and spirit. And so the part of prayer that supersedes all of that is that sometimes you will be convicted and you'll be responsible for even things that are not you're going to be accountable for even things that are not your responsibility, right? So you're going to have to fix things that maybe you didn't even cause, as it were. So this is not eye for eye, like, yes, I cost 50%, so I'm only responsible for 50%. As Christians, it's 100-100, right? You're going to be responsible for certain things that, even though you don't want to do it, you're going to have to do it. I'm sorry. So that's the hardest part, because the others can be like, yeah, I'm responsible for this, I'll do this. But this is, even if you're not responsible, you need to, turn the other cheek, go the extra mile, like those kinds of things. And if you've ever done that, it's not comfortable, not easy, but at the end it's always worth it. I think that's kind of what I want to say.
And I'm happy she added that, because that is one of the things that we do, or I do. I didn't put it on here, I don't know why I didn't want to tell you guys, but that's true. I do pray, and I think that does make a big difference in being able to go the extra mile, especially when I'm not feeling like it. The results shoot for themselves. So we've talked about what the dip is. We've talked about so what's in it for you. The question is now, what next? What happens next? So, I found out what the dip is. I see I'm in a dip. I'm going to try these things. Let me kind of paint a picture of a promised land beyond the dip, right? As in, so you go from being in a dip, in a difficult period, to being in a differentiated relationship. And let me tell you that those that get there, this is an utopia that just keeps on giving and giving. So in a differentiated relationship, and we've talked about this in the past episode, in this differentiated utopia, a couple of things are going on. One, you appreciate and respect your differences. Nobody's trying to force another person to become what they are not. And you respect the person, that this is another individual and their idea is valid too. I mean, you don't always agree with each other, but you're not trying to force the person to see your way or the highway only. Something else that happens in this differentiated utopia I'm talking about is conflicts come, but they don't divulge into personal attacks and all kinds of ugly situations. It's a conflict, yes, but it's not an ugly conflict. It's a conflict to recognize. Okay, this is not where we'd like it to be, and we want it to be somewhere else. I want it to be improved. And my favorite in this differentiated group is that everybody takes responsibility for their own feelings. As in, I'm not looking to this person to change how I feel about myself. And so that's why that it's not her fault. If I'm feeling this way, it's my own. And it's interesting about emotions. You said sentimentality not too long ago, but it's interesting thing about emotions that a lot of times emotions can and will taint your decision-making process. And so if you are clear about that, okay, this is in my power to change or to affect on me, but I'm not solely depending on that person to fix it for me, then you have what you need to get out of your dip. And then that word goes again. I think it's interesting. I have all these many words, and she just used one adjective to try and put everything
together. Yeah, I mean, yes, you all say that often, but agency is having the capacity to make decisions on your own behalf. Like those decisions are not driven by or in reaction to something else. Like you're making it, for things that you've taken responsibility for, right? In that sense.
So, again, we have a retreat coming up in Pennsylvania in June,
and we're praying for you that you're going to be able to join us, right?
Also, next month, or actually in another 24 hours, somebody's book is coming out. Well, not 24 hours literally, but it's going to be next month in 24 hours. Again, check here for the link. Is it okay if I think it's the title right now? The Belonging Paradox. If that title doesn't take your fancy, I don't know what will. Okay. If you found this useful or a blessing, don't forget to share, like, subscribe. And we'll see you guys around the corner. Well, not literally around the corner, but
soon enough.
All right. Bye.